Yo, what is up, guys? Impromptu stream. A lot of stuff happened today. I was at work and I get phone calls from people. You know, it's kind of reminiscent to what happened a couple weeks ago with Slow-Mo when he called me about the whole Activision Blizzard announcement. And I just happened to, check Twitter and I saw that Luca was live. I didn't even check regular Twitter to see like what was going on. I just checked to see like, oh, Luca's live. What's she talking about? And I seen the title and I instantly was like, no freaking way. So I had to jump in her stream and the first thing I said was, no way, this is not real. And you know what Luca told me? Yes, this is real and it is official. What's up, guys? It's your boy Forte. I'm here with my homeboy, Somo Backslap. You know, the man that really hates Destiny, but, really loves it secretly. Slow-Mo,
Hey guys.
what's up?
Hey guys. This is amazing. I have always loved Destiny. I play Destiny all the time. Destiny's just amazing. It's great. I can't Sony acquiring my favorite game of all time. Go Soldiers of the Light. Fight for that hitchhiker. You know, I can't do it.
Hitchhiker? What is a hitchhiker? And what does that
It's
have to
the
do with
Traveler.
Destiny?
It's the Traveler.
Oh, okay. The
It's
Traveler is a hitchhiker. Okay, got you.
It's a joke on people not knowing anything about Destiny whatsoever. But
Uh-huh.
now all of a sudden there are a gazillion Destiny fans out here. So
I agree. There's a lot of them.
oh man, it's just like I'm hearing some of the stuff they're saying, and they're like, Bungie has the best gunplay in the gaming industry. It's
They
just
do
like
not talk like that. They don't stutter and sound like imbeciles, Slow-Mo. They don't stutter like you're making it seem like they're stuttering.
these new fake Bungie fans do.
Oh my gosh. Shout out to Gregor Von Du says Slow-Mo is crying on the inside, hoping when Ubisoft is bought that the division gets this much attention. Shout out to Gregor.
I certainly hope so. That is somebody acquire Ubisoft and force them to make the division again. That would be great. Even though I did kind of hear some things. There's like a couple of refugee division content creators that are still out here saying some good stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But
Yeah. It's crazy. Look, I've been on a huge hiatus from Destiny over the last couple of months and stuff. As you can see, and as you can probably see on the screen, the light level in Destiny is way higher than 1250. Because you know what? Your boy redid his PC when he got his new GPU and CPU and everything. And I deleted all my Destiny content. So guess what you got to watch? You get to watch old seasons worth of Destiny when I was actually really good at PvP. But that's beside the point, man. We're here to talk about this huge bombshell of 3.6 billion dubs that Sony used to purchase one of my favorite studios in Bungie, made one of my favorite games of all time in Halo. They make one of the most played games that I ever played in my life in Destiny, which I continue to still play to this day. There's a lot to unpack here, Slow-Mo. A lot of people online talking about stuff they don't know what they're talking about. A lot of people that hated Destiny and said it's the worst game ever, it is terrible. And but now all of a sudden they're happy that they're under the stewardship of the PlayStation brand. So Slow-Mo, what matter of fact, what were you doing when you first heard this?
What was I doing? Man, okay,
What's
hold
up,
up.
Bunty?
Let me try to go back. So I had fell asleep. No, I was awake. I was awake. I was watching the replay of one of the football games from yesterday. Like, by the way, NFL playoffs. This is
Oh
the
no,
best
yesterday
NFL
was
playoff.
lit for playoff games, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Every playoff game this year has been amazing. This is like the best playoffs ever. I love it. hopefully the Super Bowl isn't a dud, but I think it won't disappoint. Anyway, right? So I'm watching that, and then I look at my phone, and I'm seeing people saying, well, I guess they got Destiny now, and I'm like, who? And I'm like, all right, well, let me go to my notifications because I have the bell icon, like the notifications for all the big guys that always leak everything, like Nebellion and people like that, Daniel Ahmad, and I'm seeing them saying Sony acquired Bungie, and I just said, what?
What?
And then I said, oh, you know what? It makes sense. Not in the way that some people are thinking when I say that. Some people are thinking, oh, this is a retaliation for Activision Blizzard, but that's just not how business works. There's no way that they would, one, even finalize a deal this quickly with for that kind of money. For any developer, it doesn't matter the size, because it's way too much work to acquire a company. I mean, you have to. There's letters of intent that have to be sent. There are executors that have to take control of the company that's being acquired to make sure all the T's are dotted, all the I's are crossed the way the company that's acquiring them likes it. And then there's a letter of intent where both sign to make sure that all that is being said about what our assets are and how much you're paying is legit. I mean, all this stuff takes months and months and months of time. So there's no way that Sony did this as a retaliation for Activision Blizzard. Now, when I say that, it makes sense. It makes sense because if you guys recall, I don't know, maybe not too many people were aware of this. There's a Chinese company called Layout Technologies, and Layout Technologies owned a number of different developers, smaller developers. Some of them support studios, some of them somewhat well-known independent studios. But Layout Technologies owned Digital Extremes, which makes Warframe, and they had made it known that they were intending to sell. And they had a number of suitors, and one of them in particular was Sony. Sony was actively trying to get this company. And I believe it was because they wanted Warframe. Warframe is a game that is mostly like has been always been free to play, and it's a game that has a strong community as well as a lot of potential with good gameplay, but a monetization method that doesn't allow digital streams to really make a lot. And so I saw the potential there with a developer that has struggled to keep up with content because they don't have the resources to get it done, and what Sony could provide for them. Well, unfortunately, Tencent bought them out. uh,
Yeah.
they Tencent went well above and beyond what the asking price was. Sony backed off. Tencent bought it, and they didn't even care about Digital Extremes or Warframe. They bought it for a completely different developer that was under Layouts Technologies. All that said, the intention of Sony to be looking for a multiplayer developer, someone who is in that loot shooter ongoing game kind of format, was obvious. And then so them acquiring Bungie, which makes a game that, although not in the same perspective or the same gameplay exactly as Warframe, but still was doing what Warframe does with consistent content on an annual basis, a ton of lore, a ton of potential. Like that desire didn't go away just because they got outbid for Warframe. And so of course, I mean, m- fairly much like I think Layout Technology sold for like 1 billion,
Yeah.
and they just acquired Bungie for 3.6 billion. So although the desire was there, clearly they knew the difference between what one IP is worth and what another one is worth, or the companies themselves, and they did what they had to do to acquire them. I think Bungie's net worth is 2 billion. So this is how you acquire someone. You spend how much they're worth and a bit of a premium, especially when that developer has always been talking about their independence and remaining independent, which
Right.
they seem to still somewhat be. You know, it's very interesting, especially for a Sony acquisition where Sony's very much about their exclusives. This
Yeah, that
isn't
was.
going to be quite like that.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Get to some people in the chat. We got Taz and shout out to Sir Taz coming through. We got Gregor making fun of slow mo as usual. Pappy Wan Kenobi, shout out to the FOF family. You know, he's up in the chat. And Delilah HD came through. You know, shout out to you, Delilah. Thanks for coming through. Yeah, for me, it's just this. This is huge. This is huge for Bungie, in my opinion. I don't know how much of a, as of right now, how much of a big deal it is for PlayStation. I mean, obviously they spent
It's a big deal for
no, it's definitely
PlayStation.
I would say, as you can't see it right now because it's something
I
that
can see it.
well, I see it, but a lot of people don't see it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the best quote. A lot of people they not
They're
on
not
the same
looking at
page.
they're not looking at everything like we're looking at. Like I see
Like
huge
TV and
potential.
film.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
You know, $3.6 billion. You just don't pony that up just for an IP, especially when you're talking about an IP that you don't even. Now, okay, you got to be careful how we say this because technically they own Bungie, which is weird. They own Bungie. Still here saying PlayStation owns Bungie is weird, but they own Bungie, but Bungie owns the IP of Destiny, meaning anything that they produce, make, or anything inside the Destiny universe, they 100% own all the rights to it. Nothing, there's no strings attached to that. The only difference is Sony basically owns just the company themselves. So if they ever separated, Bungie would go with not Bungie, Destiny would go with Bungie. And I think that's a great move because they ever had the situation with Halo. They don't want to relive that again. They were very staunch in not wanting to give up their IP rights to Activision because Activision, if you remember, when they went through their split.
Wait. What do you mean? Okay, let's
Go ahead.
back up for a second.
Go ahead.
When they acquired them, they own the IP.
No.
They own Bungie.
No. Listen. That's why I said it's weird. Bungie owns Destiny. Now, okay.
But Bungie's owned by Sony.
But Bungie's owned by Sony, which is the weird thing.
I mean, Sony owns
the only difference is like right now, Bungie owns all the rights to Destiny. Anything like the studio owns it, not like PlayStation owns Bungie, but like Bungie ever walked away or found a way to get out of the contract and get out of the obligations of being owned or being owned, like if they sold them, let's say Bungie was sold. If they sold them, they don't keep the rights to Destiny. Bungie keeps the rights to Destiny. That's what they're saying.
Okay, where did you see this?
That's in the blog post. Go read it.
No, okay, I did read the blog post.
You read all of them? It's like 4 different ones. You got the one from Herman. You got the one from Herman Host. You got the one from Jim Ryan. You got the one. So there's 3, and you got the one from Bungie directly that's on their website.
Okay, let me go.
There's 3 different ones.
All right. I will read through this. This is.
That's what I'm saying. It's weird.
No.
It's literally weird.
I'm fairly certain that Sony did not spend $3.6 billion to not own Destiny.
Dude, they've spent They spent $3.6 billion to be in a partnership. That's what they did.
This is not a partner.
I know. Listen.
Find partnership.
No, it doesn't say the word partnership in it.
Then what are you talking about?
No, I'm saying, but if you don't physically.
They do own.
Okay, they own it. They own Bungie, so they own it. But if Bungie was to be sold, then Destiny goes with them.
Okay, that's where you're adding.
Go ahead, read the blog post. Read the blog post.
So they actually said in a blog post.
Okay, let me
to be sold. Let me
pull.
Say that in a blog post.
Let me pull up the blog post. It doesn't.
That's like you get married. And then you
And
talk
have a
about your
prenup.
prenup.
And have a prenup.
No, but you talking about your prenup
Well,
and your wedding
the
vows.
prenup is
Baby,
stated
I
before.
love you.
Baby, I love
I
you.
love you so
But
much,
you can't
baby.
have half my
And
stuff.
but you know, this prenup is going to make sure that I'm safe in case this don't work out. Like no one says like no, like that's not in
I
the
like how they
documents.
say we have found a partner who unconditionally supports us. I'm just reading this thing. Like we believe. Wait, hold on. We believe games have limit. This is off the Sony blog, the Bungie blog post. There's so many blog posts. We believe games have limited potential, and that we do anything worthwhile in entertainment. We must bet big on our vision, on our studio, and our incredible team of trusted creators who build unforgettable worlds that truly matter to people. In SIE, we found a partner who unconditionally supports us in all we do and who we want to be, and accelerate our vision to create generation spanning entertainment, all while preserving the creative independence that beats in the heart of Bungie like us. SIE believes that game worlds are only the beginning of what we plan with our IPs, and can become together as we share a dream of creating and fostering iconic franchises that unite friends around the world, families across generations, and fans across multiple platforms and entertainment mediums. Today, Bungie begins their journey to become a global multimedia entertainment company, which is the thing we talked about with the multimedia entertainment part of it. They talk about, then they go into their creative freedom. Since taking, I don't want to read all that. That's talking.
I think I found where you
go ahead.
have this idea.
No, go ahead.
That
You probably did.
they own, like they have some kind of ownership that's outside of Sony. They don't. Look, but
Read
look,
it.
it says we remain in charge of our destiny. We will continue to independently publish and creatively develop our games. We will continue to drive one unified Bungie community. Our games will continue to be where our community is, wherever they choose to play. Now, that part is talking about the fact that basically they are not beholden to put their games on certain platforms. They are not beholden to essentially be forced to have, say, Destiny only on PlayStation, that kind of stuff, or to be forced to have independent exclusive content like they did in the past with the Activision Sony deal, where certain like weapons and strikes and stuff were exclusive to PlayStation for a year before they would go to Xbox or other platforms. They are not like basically held to that kind of standard, but that means nothing about ownership. What you were talking about, whether ownership of IP,
well,
you
that's
don't
what
spend $3.6 billion and don't own the IP.
Listen, Delilah. Delilah just said it, and she's basically just said in the chat. She says Bungie is reiterating the rights in case things go south. It actually makes sense. A prenup.
Where is this, Delilah? I need
listen.
Send me a DM. Something. Where's the prenup? I want to see the prenup.
Listen,
okay?
Listen.
Like,
I understand. Look, Slow-Mo. I understand what you're saying, but literally the way, like everything that they posted, like, okay, so you can say that this is like weird writing with the way that they could just come out and say it.
Completely changes. If that's true, this completely changes whether this. I believe this is a good deal for Sony. If they don't own the IP, that's an awful deal for them. You spent you spent not just the net worth of the company. You spent also a premium that's 70%.
But you have
of
no
what the value was. Hold on, I'm done. I'm not done. You did all of that, and you don't own the biggest IP this company has. So what did you do it for? Because look, let's say you want to do, you see all the potential out of the Destiny IP. You look at all these Grimoire cores, you're just like, man, that would be a great TV series. That would be a great Netflix series. That'd be a great
Delilah
movie.
said that's not what she said.
You can, okay, all right. So what are we saying here? They're retaining rights, but they're owned. What is the difference? I don't know. Okay, maybe
I just think it's really weird. Okay, so if I was to go off of your thinking,
but let me finish my point.
No, go ahead.
If they want to do something with the IP, and Bungie doesn't even have to actually, um, Bungie doesn't even actually have to do anything with
Oh
it.
no,
They don't have
she
to
said
make
she
a
read
game
it.
with it.
She said her thing was a question, not a. I read it the way I read it. Yeah, she's right. I read it as that's what she was saying. I didn't see the question on it.
Okay, so basically,
I
you
read
and
it.
your
I
reading
read it as a.
skills
I
again.
read it as a fact that it was a. She had a question mark on it. So no, she. Yeah, right.
Okay, so your reading skills again. I got it. So look,
Oh Lord, here we
um,
go.
all I'm saying is that like that's a bad deal for them, I think, because if you don't have, you spend billions of dollars to not have full control over IP, and not necessarily saying that you wouldn't allow them to do what they want to do with the games that they make, but you should also, with the money that you spent, be able to leverage stuff like Sony Pictures, really get the most use out of that IP.
I
And
think they get that.
if
Yeah.
but though what we don't know that if there's this whole well we retain rights to do whatever
Well, that's
like
what I'm saying.
can they be like well we don't want a Destiny movie or we don't want to even though like that would be completely pointless. Like, why wouldn't you want that, right?
Right.
But because that's only going to promote your IP and to help promote your games. But at the same time, the fact that they could say no to that is silly to me. When you spent this much money on this company, that's ridiculous. You should you should have FU rights at that point. I don't want to do that. F you.
I,
I spent $3.6 billion.
great.
Shut up. Like that should be the beginning and end of all that.
Gregor just said Bungie was just saying they own creative freedom of the IP, which is what all Sony studios have at the moment. They said that because they know people did not. They know that people know they didn't have that with Activision. It's just like I said. It's just
all Sony studios have creative freedom of the IP. That's not true.
I know that's not
Sony
true.
bend with Days Gone. We want to do a Days. Hello.
Hello,
We can't
you ain't do. You ain't doing that.
Like,
You ain't doing that.
true.
Look, I think okay. So, like I said, when I read this, because it could be, like I said, this is just awesome. Man, we're all guessing. We really don't know because we're not in the room seeing exactly how the deal was written up. But
and Dorian Gray says Hogue made a video on it. I haven't had the opportunity.
yeah, we haven't
to
seen Hogue's video yet.
I definitely want to do that. But again, look, let's operate under the assumption that that is the case. That it is that Bungie has
What up, Persona?
rights that what's up, Persona? More rights here than what a typical developer that gets acquired and their IP gets acquired has. Because like ZeniMax Media is acquired by Microsoft, and although they are, still run independently as their own publisher as they always have been in the past, but where their games go is where Microsoft says their games go. If they say Starfield's not going to PlayStation, guess what? Starfield is not going to PlayStation as it's not. So it's like, what is the wiggle room here with Bungie? It is I guess is what I'm curious with. And for like in regards to that, this is an even better deal for if that's the case. This is an even better deal for Bungie.
I think it's a great deal for Bungie.
They basically just got money for nothing. They didn't have to do anything. Like we're owned, quote unquote owned,
Right.
by Sony, but we out here look. We put our games where we feel like putting our games, fam. We gonna put them on Xbox. We gonna put them on Xbox. What? Like, whereas if I'm Sony, I'm like, I mean, can I make a TV show with this IP? Is that okay, sir? That I acquired, but can I ask you? Can I do that? Like, well, I don't understand.
No, I see. Yeah, I see. Delilah just says they wanted the freedom to go beyond just being a Destiny studio. Only time will tell, to be honest. And then Johnny says they went to Sony for TV and film and creative freedom. Dorian Gray says, I think Sony will have more control over anything they make together with Bungie, but Destiny, I believe, was the thing that was built before this deal.
And that makes sense. And that, with a lot of these acquisitions, when we see there is an ongoing game, Minecraft, let's see.
Taz said Bungie just cucked Sony.
That's what it seems like to me.
That's what it seems like to me.
No, but Minecraft,
Good
Elder
evening,
Scrolls
Big Mamo.
Online, more than likely Warzone. When you have an ongoing game where people have invested, a community has invested in this game on a particular platform, there's no longer really the platform that is competition with the new ownership of the IP. They still don't remove that off. You know, it's because Bunty. By the way, Bunty says I may sound a little
I
low.
turned you up a
I don't
little.
know.
I turned you up,
Okay.
so.
Um, but like the way that works is that you don't want people to feel it's very different than say like the annual Call of Duty releases, which is like a new game every year. But whereas with say Warzone or Minecraft, or in this case Destiny, here's an ongoing game where people spend money on a particular platform on an annual basis to enjoy and play a game on a daily basis, and they have invested in this game on this platform. And if you remove that game from this platform, you are likely, more than likely, when it comes to that kind of game, to not get that person to transition over to new platform where that game is, because with the way these platforms are set up, and we've seen it even with Destiny, if you buy say the Forsaken expansion on Xbox, that when you play Destiny 2 on PlayStation, you don't have access to Forsaken content on PlayStation because you bought it on Xbox. And
Right.
so if that is the case, you don't want people to be like, man, I really want to continue playing Destiny, but damn near all the content I spent my money on is no longer accessible to me over on PlayStation. I gotta rebuy that stuff. Like, it's just like it gets messy. And so people just like, instead of potentially having somebody deciding, screw this game, I gotta buy this stuff over again, or even if they don't have to, but they feel like they might need to because the way information is disseminated, it's not always clear to people. That can cause problems, and you can lose players that way. So why even bother, right? You just don't do it. You just leave that game, that ongoing game, where it is. But new things, kind of, you want to try and make some things exclusive. And, and I still kind of feel like, even though they talked about creative freedom, we do what we want. Sony can't tell us nothing, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, maybe some new IPs, some new stuff they haven't even started developing on yet. They definitely talked about accelerating their building up teams and acquiring more people to fill out groups and studios and team whatever, right? Like, you might actually get an exclusive soon. I expect that. They saying the greatest stuff right now. 3 years from now, you might be like, hey, Bungie, Sony exclusive game, blah, 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 coming out. We don't know. But we'll see.
I mean, from all of those, the 15 different blog posts that they got out there, they like, even where's the one for? Even the one that Jim Ryan put out there, they went out of their way to basically let everybody know that this studio is going to be an independent studio. And they're going to be collaborating with them. And I just don't get that. How are you collaborating with something that you own? It's like, I mean, I understand the whole, I understand the premise of it, but it's like, you own it. So everything that studio has, you have. Like, that goes back to the whole argument, like you were talking about with just like, how do they not own Destiny? Like, how do you own the company but not own the IP? It's just crazy to me. But we all know that Bungie did not want to give up the rights to Destiny. Just like they came out and publicly said they didn't want to even give up. They don't want to lose their IPs no more. No matter who or what they have to do, they want to always be able to walk away with IP if they ever in a situation where they had to separate. And I think listen, I don't know. Listen, I'm trying to tell you, this reads
I'm
like
sorry, but Bungie sounds real entitled to me. Like, this would be the second if they did walk away, quote unquote, walk away from a company that owns them. I'm sorry, but like, y'all did that already with Microsoft, and
well,
like,
they didn't walk away with Halo from Microsoft, though.
Microsoft didn't even have to acquiesce to that. Like, but they did. They let them go. They kept Halo. and they said, you know, before you leave, make these 2 games for us, which is ODST
and
and
Reach.
Reach. But like, what is this? Like, I retain my independence.
I'm trying to
This is
tell you, it's
what
weird.
is what the. We own you. Shut up. You put your games where we want them to go. Like, this is what I'm used to seeing. You know, I'm not used to
But
people just
but
like,
they even but they just came out and
all
even
right.
said it. They just said that they particularly said Destiny, and they particularly said other IPs like games
Which
in the
they
future.
do have, yeah, like the NetEase game, which, as you told me before we went live, looks like NetEase isn't a part of that project anymore. They bought that out. Like, there's that, which was going to be actually mobile
Yes.
and console. So like that was going to be on literally everything. So there's that project. They had another IP they were also working on as well. So they had stuff in the oven. It's just that no one knows about those games because they weren't announced yet. And pretty much people who think of Bungie now, they only think about like old school Halo and Destiny, but they got other stuff that they've been working on. It's just no one knows about it. But like, yeah, all that stuff will be probably wherever the platforms they expected to put those games on, which of course is multi-platform, would stay that way. But
Well, great.
I just can't. I can't see it, man.
Gregor asked me, he said, Forte be thinking about divorce while he proposing. Didn't Bungie only leave Microsoft, did Activision because of lack of creative freedom? I'm not disagreeing. I think the creative freedom side of it is great for Bungie. I think Sony will afford them that luxury. It's just the fact that the way, listen, I'm only going off of the way this is written compared to like, this is like they have been straightforward in everything that they wrote in these blog posts. They told you exactly what was what. They told you that they said, we own they basically said we own the company, but we're collaborating, but we're basically doing all this stuff side by side with Bungie. But then they're talking about all of these other things.
That was that straightforward. You know what's
No,
straightforward?
I'm not talking about, I'm talking about some.
They bought us.
The fact that they literally told everybody that they are going to be a multi-platform publisher. They literally told you that.
Yeah, so that part really actually kind of like piqued my interest at the publisher part, because
yes,
Bungie's not a publisher.
They've never been a publisher.
At least they've never been a publisher up until now. Maybe they are a publisher now. Maybe that's part of.
They're a publisher of Destiny. That's what they're a publisher of. The only game that they have right now.
Yeah, they self-publish. Yes, but like, it's that, like, are they going to go beyond that? Or are they going to start like, say, like, this is me spitballing, and I know people going to be like, here goes Slow-Mo talking about Splitgate again. But let's just say,
yeah,
hypothetically, that 1047 Games and Bungie work together, and Bungie starts publishing Splitgate. You know, like, is that like not a Sony published thing, but a Bungie published thing? Kind of like how Private Division is under 2K and Take-Two, where Private Division is a company that does a lot of publishing for indie developers for smaller projects, AA kind of games. Might like small, on the small side, AAA projects, but they work independently of 2K and Take-Two. Is that what's happening here with Sony and Bungie? I guess I have a lot of questions, and I don't think it's that straightforward. I don't think I have I don't think there's a lot of answers here. Like, let me know straight up, if you're working on a Destiny 3, is it going to be on Xbox?
All right, here you go. Listen to this. All right, so this is under under Bungie's website under Destiny 2 Shared Vision. It says Bungie's bright future is only possible with you, our amazing community of Guardians. If you share our vision of Destiny, a single global community that can play anywhere or on any device, join us. We are just getting started. See you Starside. And then it says, what Destiny 2, our shared community, our shared vision, one community, multi-platform. Destiny will stay on all current platforms and expand to new platforms. Self-publishing, creatively independent. Bungie maintains full creative control.
So a Destiny 3 would definitely still be on Xbox and Stadia, PC. a
Yeah,
Billy Goat,
a
your
Billy Goat, and
toaster,
they say,
whatever, right?
yep, Bungie maintains full creative control and publishing, independence of Destiny and the universe, and same game everywhere. Every player should have an amazing Destiny experience, no matter where you choose to play.
Well, I do think to kind of go back to my original point like 15 minutes ago before we went down this rabbit hole of like what do they actually control. I do think that the reason why Sony decided to make this move was because they really see the potential out of, and you see where they're going
Let me
now
know
with
when
like
you.
Netflix movies, um, taking the IP that they own and then leveraging Sony Pictures and with movies, their partnership with Netflix TV shows, and putting it out there. HBO Max as well, right? Because HBO is doing The Last of Us, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah.
Is it HBO? Okay, so like yeah, leveraging their business dealings with these other studios out here and these other platforms to expand their IP, which have very cinematic kind of gaming, but then also put those out there to other audiences that will rather consume that kind of content in different ways. And I said this on Twitter in regards to Destiny's story. It sucks. It's a bad story. It's a bad story for a game, I think, and for that kind of game. I think it's not a horrible story. It's got some really good ideas in there, and I think a lot of that stuff is better received
Mm-hmm.
in TV and film. Some of the stories, some of the characters, a lot of the lore would make great TV series, would make a great movie, or like some kind of like a uh cinematic universe if you want to have like a collection of TV series that focused on certain characters and built that kind of stuff up. Like there's a lot of potential there that Bungie on their own couldn't realize because they didn't have the resources to
Mm-hmm.
do that. But Sony does have those resources. So this collaboration, if you want to call it, between the two makes it so that like that is possible, and Sony would get a lion's share of the benefit from that because they're in their wheelhouse, so to speak.
Right. Yeah. It's so they have a Q&A up here, and they ask a couple of questions. Of course they make sure that they put the ones up here they know that people probably gonna ask the
Just
most
send me a
of.
link to the Q&A.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. It says let me send you the link first. Messages, Mr. Slow-Mo, and there you are. You have it. So the Q&A at the very bottom, it's only like five or six questions they answer. They talk about, okay, question 1: as a Destiny player, does Bungie becoming part of the PlayStation have any immediate impact on how I play and experience Destiny 2? Question is no. Answer is no. Our commitment to Destiny 2 as a multi-platform game with full cross-play remains unchanged. We want to play Witch Queen and on February 22nd, 2002 on all platforms of your choice.
The Witch Queen not being in Game Pass was a change.
Sure it was, because they ripped, well, you got to remember back in December, they ripped that out of Game Pass because it happened real quick too. I was like, whoa, it's gone?
Oh wow! But I thought everything remained unchanged. I thought you had creative freedom. I thought you could just do what you wanted with your IP. What's going on?
So question 2: will the Destiny 2 experience on non-PlayStation platforms be impacted by Bungie becoming a part of PlayStation? Short answer is no. We want to maintain a great experience you already have on a platform of your choice. Next question was, will any unannounced seasons, events, packs, or expansions be changed or impacted by Bungie becoming a part of PlayStation? Once again, no. Retain full creative independence on our game and our community. Our plans for the Light and Dark Saga are unchanged all the way through the final shape in 2024, which that's what they announced up to this point. And it basically just goes going through just, don't have to read all this because they're basically just saying they're not changing anything inside of Destiny from what you already have. The question just comes down like, I understand what Sony's getting a lot of the back end stuff, I feel, when it comes to the not the ecosystem, but their knowledge in games as a service. Like, you know, we make fun of it all the time, but Bungie has made the only game that's literally kind of survived games of a service in this when it comes to like modern type of shooters and stuff like this. What we call them? We call them looter shooters and stuff. They are the only ones to really survive and thrive in this ecosystem. So we always talk about we want Sony to go out and basically compete in the multiplayer genre. This is probably I don't think Bungie is the answer to that, but I think they're part of the solution by helping them build, you know, experiences with other studios, because they talk about the tools that they have available to them that will be able to be shared across all the SIE other studios and stuff.
I hope it ain't their idea of dedicated servers. But
Oh, well,
I see
no.
what you mean.
Yeah. I hope it's not that. I mean, if you can get dedicated servers on the game, that's what they need. But I think if you take one of the number one, you know, developers in FPS shooting, which Bungie is, if you take them and give them the ability to, you know, marry that to like the overall quality of what Sony usually has in their first party offerings and merge that into a first person offering, you kind of got something special there. So that's what I hope this thing does. And for Bungie, I just feel like it gives them the ability to get more content out the door. They're already talking about hiring more staff, more people to put on the game. Sony has amazing studios that could be satellite studios to help them get more content out the door faster for Destiny. Because because I always
looter shooters need a lot of people.
And I always tell people, like people give, like, Activision is going through the dirt right now because of everything that's going on with them. But I always tell people that Bungie, even though they didn't like not having the creative freedom that they had under Activision, I feel like Destiny was a better overall game when it comes to like quality of stuff we got back then. Like, it's been better as of lately because Bungie has finally hit a stride where they could kind of get really good, meaningful content out, but it takes too long for them to do it. You know, if you're going to wait a year and a half for, you know, content of substantial note to come out like The Witch Queen, that's too long in a looter shooter. We complain about a 6-month season. Can you imagine going a year and a half and not getting nothing compared to when we had Activision helping around with it and Vicarious Visions and High Noon Studios helping get content out? We got some of the best DLCs we ever got in Destiny doing that. So I think Sony can definitely help them with that. And then not even talking about the multimedia side of it with Sony Pictures and getting, you know, and them owning Funimation and stuff and getting like animes and stuff out there like that. You know, that's the long game. Ever since Luke Smith got elevated to being not only just the director of Destiny, but pretty much the overseer of it, he sees more than just the game now. He sees the possibilities of more merch and everything like that. And you're talking about a game that generates anywhere from $500 to $600 million a year. And they just want to grow that pie even more. So there's a lot of benefits to this move. I just don't understand the idea that, wow, you are just collaborating and this whole multi-platform. It's weird. But then if you look at the blog post from Jim Ryan, he talks about wanting to be multi-platform and stuff like that. And it's just like, I kind of,
well, I mean, but look, that's their deal.
Well, that's the deal
like,
now.
keep ignoring it. But like Jim Ryan been telling you this, like you know, shout out to What's Up PlayStation, Gaming with Persona and Jay Barry. They did an interview with Sean Layton. He touched on how when he was still there, they were starting a lot of that where they were taking, you know, they were exploring into the PC market. And it just looks like Jim Ryan has taken those explorations and gone a little bit deeper with it. And pause, but like
a little deeper with it.
I mean, now like they call it PlayStation PC. Like they have an entire, like, you know, branding for that there, and it's not going to end there. They're going to be much bigger in mobile than they were before, which is super necessary. Like, why wouldn't you do that when mobile is the majority, the revenue generated on an annual basis in gaming, period, comes in mobile? Why wouldn't you want to partake in that? when you know that there's a lot larger people invested in that. Different kinds of games, sure,
Right.
but those are kind of gaming experiences. What you do is you find developers that that excel in those game experiences, and you push forward with that. So yeah, they look when you become CEO and you take over at a time where SIE was killing it.
Right.
Game of the year, Spider-Man selling great. God of War is game of the year. It's amazing. The Last of Us Part 2, technical masterpiece. Where do you go from here? Because what you can do, you could screw it up. That's an option.
That is an option.
Nobody wants to do that, right? You could screw it up, or you could just maintain the status quo, just keep things going, like whatever we're doing, just keep it going, keep the party going, right? Or you can try to prove to the board of directors and the CEO and at Sony why they chose you to be the successor and to take over by making them more money.
Yeah.
And there's not much more money that they can make in the console market. So they gotta go beyond that.
This is what Jim Ryan had to say in response to that. He says Bungie's successful track record in multi-format publishing and live game services will assist us in realizing our ambition to take PlayStation beyond the console and increase our potential audience. They will remain independent and multi-platform, will enjoy creative freedom, and their track record in developing massive successful franchises in the sci-fi shooter genre. They will also highly complement our SIE own IP portfolio. So it's a multifaceted move for Bungie. They're using each other. Let's be free. Bungie's using them to get more money, more revenue, to be able to widen or get the Destiny IP name out there more. Whereas it looks like Sony is getting the infrastructure, the know-how, the overall kit that they have when it comes to like developing games like this, and also bringing a much needed pedigree to their ability to make games like first-person shooters that people love. Let's be for real. As much as people give Destiny the crap, and like you said, you tweeted it, I never seen so many Destiny lovers at one time in the course of less than 24 hours than I did this month, because it was like you can't tell them apart from the people that are just clamoring because Sony bought them versus the people that actually play the game. That's why we're out here showing stats. If you're a true Destiny person, show your stats and show people that you actually really played this game and cared. Because I care, and I don't care where the game is per se. I play on Xbox because I like the controller, and the controller is amazing. And if it was to happen not to be on Xbox no more, I'll just play on PC because that's where it's available at too. But I care more about Bungie being able to give us the experiences they can give us in a more timely manner than what we've been getting them in. And if Sony's going to get more stuff when it comes to like being able to build their portfolio up and get their studios more accurate to what's going on when it comes to the type of games they need to make, multiplayer games being better overall, because that's something that they're very super lacking in. This is a marriage that needed to happen for them, and I'm happy for Bungie to be able to say that they were able to do this. But in general, it just seems like right now, would I have paid $3.6 billion for it? I don't know if Bungie's worth that, but like you said, I didn't know they were worth $2 billion. So if you're worth $2 billion, you're paying a premium of 175% of the asking price to basically get, to get somebody in your wheelhouse that actually knows what they're doing. And you can't deny and say Bungie doesn't know what they're doing when it comes to FPS and games as a service. And that's something that, Sony desperately needs inside their wheelhouse. And
they just forgot how to make multiplayer maps.
Bungie knows how to make multiplayer maps. They just make bad ones too.
But when was the last time they made a multiplayer map for Destiny?
You talk about like in general is what you're talking about.
Yes.
Oh no,
Yes.
yeah, I agree. Oh, I agree with that.
They forgot how that works.
No, I thought you meant like bad multiplayer maps. No, yeah, they legit did
I
forget how to make a map.
I think Destiny players would take a bad new multiplayer map over zero multiplayer.
Oh, it's been
maps.
over
And how many
900.
years
It's
now?
been over 900 days since the last actual brand new map has hit a Destiny game. Like brand new, not something that was reprised from a previous game, not something from Destiny 2, not something that was content voted a year and a half to 2 years ago. We're talking about something they made from scratch. It's been almost 3 years. It's probably been longer than 3 years now. But I don't know, man. It's interesting. So so also, shout out to Phil Spencer. You know,
that's longer than me waiting for content in the division.
Right, exactly. Well, also I do want to say shout out to Phil Spencer because he's very consistent. He's always congratulating everybody when good things happen, and I didn't know how Phil's gonna really feel about this because Phil is a huge Destiny fan that you guys know. He's always playing it. It's like the one.
I don't think Phil cares.
I don't think he cares either. You know why? Because he literally thanked them. He said, congratulations to Bungie. This is a great move, and he was like, and that he said it just means more big things for them in the future. And I think he really truly means that because it's a game that he really cares about. But I truly don't think he cares. I don't think he really cares one way or another how this acquisition went. We all know that Microsoft,
even if they made it exclusive, I still don't think he would care. I think Phil owns a PlayStation. And he owns it on PlayStation.
I wouldn't play. I would play it on PC. But even if he did make it, if he made it exclusive, I wouldn't care because as long as it's on PC, I'll play it there.
Oh, you're right. He probably would play it on PC. He probably wouldn't care about. Did they fix the anti-cheat yet? I don't know.
Yeah, BattleWire. You barely see cheaters on the game anymore on PC.
Oh, that's what's up. I might actually reinstall it just to do a benchmark and uninstall it again.
Oh my god, a benchmark.
I'm kidding.
Dorian,
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Let me see. Gregor. We get a couple people in the chat. Keizu said Sony definitely needed someone like Bungie to fill that multiplayer and live service gap. It's actually a perfect fit, honestly. I absolutely agree. Johnny says, well, Microsoft was trying to buy them too. They absolutely were, and who knows how that actually played itself out. Delilah said, I only see good coming from this, and that's what I say. That's only good things are going to come from this move. It just seems weird the way that it's. I mean, listen, man, it's just weird to hear Bungie and PlayStation in the same sentence, like when it comes to like an acquisition, because Halo, as much as people crap on Halo is like, for a lot of people on Xbox, was like their first love, and that studio made it, and now that they're a part of the PlayStation brand, I'm happy in general just for the developers to be able to have the creative freedom to make the games the way they want to make them and not have the meddling of somebody like Activision telling them how they have to do and make and produce their games or whatever time schedule they need to. But I do think Sony is going to give them more structure with that same freedom, but still let them get the stuff done that they need to get done, and that's a great move by.
I think for Bungie, the biggest benefit to this is funding.
It's funding, yeah.
It's being able to do the things they were always wanted to do, and not have to say miss schedulings, not have content out on time. You talked about the looter shooters, and this one being the most consistent, and the one that kind of. I think part of the reason why this one is the most consistent is because this one was the one that actually delivered content more consistently than the other ones did. They very rarely had delays on expansions. They delivered on things that the community asked for eventually after tons of complaining. But like and maybe not always delivered the way the community wanted it done. But I mean, coming from a big looter shooter fan.
Right.
Coming from a lot of pretty much all of them. There's always the community that's like is asking for things, and a lot of times the developer isn't really very quick to address those things, or choose to actually fix those things. And eventually, it shocks me that it continues to keep happening. But then the people for the community peace out. Like, you can't stonewall your community, especially when you are relying on them to consistently continue to play your game on a consistent basis. Then you need to make sure that they are happy. And I've seen just a lot of games come and have their moment and then go, but Destiny has remained, and that's regardless of all the little digs I take in on Destiny. I mean, like, facts are facts, and I'm an honest person.
I
Honestly,
appreciate
this
you
is the
saying that,
the
Slow
looter
Mo.
shooter that actually survives and continues on. And so, with all that said, like, re- the limitations that this Bungie has always had
Hmm.
has been having the resources to make sure that content is out. When they were under Activision, they had to rely on Vicarious Visions and Raven,
Raven, yeah, Vicarious Vision
Raven
and High Moon.
and High Moon Studio in order to get their expansions out consistently. When they went independent, they didn't have those guys with them anymore, and you see that the content changed, one, and some people didn't quite like the way the change is no longer the big expansions on a consistent basis the way that it used to be. And it also wasn't a guarantee that it comes out in September like it used to be. Maybe now they can get back to that. Maybe now they can actually build up internally
Yeah,
more developers to allow that to happen without needing to rely on the support studio. Which, I mean, look, like, everyone has support studios. Every single game, whether it's an ongoing game, a live service game, single player, offline game, everyone has a support studio or two that helps out. But uh live service games, and especially this one, has had a bigger reliance on those kind of studios than in the past. And shoot, look, I know I mentioned the Division before, but Division had 5 studios to make the game,
yeah,
and then had 2 studios keeping the game going before, while the a third studio, well, no, I'm sorry, the other 3 studios were making the sequels. So it's just like, it's every publisher has a way of getting it done, but now Bungie being able to have more resources to get back to doing it the way they were doing it before might be good for them, and I think it will be good for them. I'm
do
happy
you
to see it.
do you think somebody just Marquez the chat says Destiny 2 expansions on Spartacus day one. So we are, the funny thing about that is, like we talked about earlier, they did take, Destiny out of Game Pass in December. So we know that happened. You can speculate that it was because of this deal. It might be because of this deal is being talked about like that. Do you think, what kind of, okay, you spent all this money. Do you think PlayStation game, we're talking about the gamers here. We're not talking about how it's going to benefit Sony, because we know Sony's going to benefit from it in multitude of different ways. What do you
Mhm.
think the gamer is going to benefit from this acquisition when it comes to, like, just perks of playing on a PlayStation platform, if any?
I don't think they're gonna get any perks for Destiny. I don't think, maybe something for another IP that they're working on, but for Destiny in particular, like, they didn't. This is something that when I spoke to Luca about this earlier today, she reminded me that uh Bungie made a promise to the Destiny community after leaving Activision that the way that content was delivered and the unfairness of the timed exclusive content that was time gated from Xbox was something that they were never doing again.
Mm-hmm.
So you just been acquired by Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going back on your word? Is what's up? So, like, it's, if they really, as our homie Taz says, cucked Sony with this deal, then their word will remain consistent, and they're not going to change. So there shouldn't really be any benefit to PlayStation gamers at all. I mean, Spartacus, maybe.
I
Like, I
can
mean,
see. That's what I
like,
said. I can see Spartacus where.
yeah, so like where you don't have to buy the expansion, but if you sign up to Spartacus, you'll get access to it. Like that's not really like because when it was in
Well,
Game Pass,
that
was
was a
that
perk.
really like
There was a
a
benefit.
massive
It
benefit?
was for me because I ended up not having to buy the DLC for the whole season, the whole year. I
But as
mean.
far as gameplay goes,
Oh well,
all the
no, not
content was
not.
still
Yeah, all
there.
the content was still there. You just did have to pay for it. Exactly.
Right. So like still like yeah, maybe Spartacus, like you don't have to pay for those expansions if you have what like a particular tier in Project Spartacus or whichever, they finally explain what the heck that is in the coming months, but like as far as gameplay goes, I don't think there's going to be any like in-game advantages
Yeah, I
or
see.
in-game content that's missing from PC and Stadia and Xbox
Gregor.
that's
Yeah.
only available there.
Yeah, Gregor made a good point. He said PSN might get stuff like free Bright Dust or Silver Packs in the PSN store. That's about it. They already do that with a lot of other games. So
Right, and that's not making exclusive content. That's just giving
they're just
you
giving players on their platform a benefit of being on their platform versus
right,
anybody
right,
else's.
and you can go take that and that free extra bright dust or whatever to go get some cosmetic that's freely available on the
All
PC version
yeah, all
or some
platforms.
yeah, yeah.
No,
That's
no,
fine. That
no.
makes
That's
sense.
that's a good point right there. Look, man. This is it's crazy. This is who knew on my, and so remember when you always talk about the week that DPS is on my channel, everything always happens that week.
Yeah,
It's crazy, isn't it?
every time.
Every time. So just know when something crazy happens, it's more than likely Forte's week for DPS because literally with Bethesda stuff, not Bethesda, Activision Blizzard. Matter of fact, even Bethesda, when Bethesda broke, it was on my week. When Activision broke, it was on my week, and now Bungie breaks is on my week too. So it's. I'm sorry, Slow Mo. It's crazy, but
It's all right. It's fine. It's fine.
no,
You
it's
know,
fun.
I look forward to 2 weeks from now when Sony announces they've acquired Capcom. It'll be your week again, and then
So
this
that's
is
a
when
good.
we get the
So
next
that's a
big
good. So
news.
that's a good question. Good segue before we get up out of here. Jim Ryan did say in that blog post that we are not done. Reminiscent to what Phil Spencer said. Who do you think is the next acquisition for them?
I think it will be a publisher, but not on the like. People need to slow their roll with the EAs and the Take Twos. They're not acquiring EA and Take Twos.
Right.
They're not. That's not happening. But Ubisoft, Capcom, and Square Enix is fair game. I think Square Enix, for obvious reasons, they got a lot of time exclusives with them already. Maybe completely lock that down completely, by making them first party. They're the only other publisher out here that's doing Marvel gaming content. Outside of them, they could create their own little like cinematic universe between Square Enix, Eidos Montreal, Guardians of the Galaxy, and probably a different developer to do Adventures.
Right.
um, I think that would make sense. And then they could like officially have Final Fantasy is exclusive to
Yeah.
PlayStation forever and
Yeah.
PC, of
Let us know in
course,
the
right?
chat. Yeah.
Um,
Let us know in the chat who you think they should go after two next. I see some of your responses. I'll mention them as soon as Slow Mo's done.
I think Ubisoft is something that like people might need to take a look at. I know a lot of people like the ish on Ubisoft and justifiably so because they're internally there's a lot of bad things that we hear about them and externally in their game content they are constantly under delivering. But a lot of what is the reason why Activision Blizzard got acquired is also happening at Ubisoft. If you think about it, they have had a lot of internal turmoil with racism, sexual harassment, with the covering up of all those things. Essentially, think about everything that has been said about Activision Blizzard. It has all applied accurately with evidence with Ubisoft. The
Right.
only difference is that Ubisoft is a smaller publisher, and their games are not as high profile as Call of Duty is for Activision, or what World of Warcraft, whatever, right? Um, that it wouldn't be surprise me if the I forgot the name of the CEO, but his family basically owns the company. It wouldn't surprise me if they were ready to get out, because like Bobby Kodak, that CEO decided, even though he was presiding over, owned and managed a culture that has been that toxic for decades, that he was going to fix
Right.
the issues, and no one actually believes he will or can. And if you believe what people have said so far, as far as developers that work there, he hasn't. So if they got treasure trove of IP here, Splinter Cell, The Division, Tom Clancy, everything, Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon, Assassin's Creed. There is a ton of IP here that is being misused, and under Sony, that does a great job of cultivating talent and managing studios, does great publishing. You can see the improvements, and potentially like getting Ubisoft out of this rat race, this cycle of just following trends, but well after those trends are they always missing the wave. Basically, they're never being innovators anymore. And so like I can see them kind of taking that on and making some drastic changes there. But those games sell every year, and so like they're going to just get the lion's share of those sales.
Right.
And Capcom, for obvious reasons, they're the platform for fighting games. Street Fighter is exclusive to PlayStation. Imagine the RE engine. They have ownership of the RE engine, which is a great engine. Games look great in it, and it's not that demanding on hardware. They would own Resident Evil.
Right.
Think about Resident Evil 4 remake being exclusive to PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like that, I think that would be right there. And you look at the net value of those three publishers I mentioned, not much more than what apparently Bungie's net value was. So like that, I think that's feasible for them. And I
That's
think that might be
crazy.
what would end up happening.
Well,
One of them, not like all three, but
no,
like one of them might be.
the funny thing is, when you look at this, it lets you know why games as a service is such a big multi-million billion-dollar industry, not industry, but just franchise to be in, or genre to be in. Because I would have never knew that Bungie was worth $2 billion. And they're only worth, and they don't have anything but Destiny, right? Everything else that they work on is not even announced yet. So we don't even know what they are. We have ideas of what they are. So the worth of that company is literally Destiny. $2 billion is why that company is worth that. Think about it. They have a studio by the name of Insomniac that they just spent what was it, 250 million?
Yeah, 200, like somewhere in there.
Yeah, 200 and something million dollars.
That was a great steal, man,
That's a
because they've made so
steal.
much off of them since then.
It's a steal, but then you look at something like Bungie that is worth just what, 20 times that? 10 times that? Yeah, 10 times that. 10 times that number. That's what they paid. A little bit over there, probably 11 or 12 times that. It's crazy, but that just lets you know this is why Phil Spencer and Microsoft are going after the whole service industry thing, because that's where the money is. Like, I think everybody kind of poo-poos when they say, single player games don't sell, they don't move the needle like they used to. I mean, they always are going to move the needle because people enjoy.
True.
Yeah, games
That
are
is so not true.
It's not true. It's not true, because games will always move the needle because people want to play good games no matter what. The difference is the ceiling on a single player game is finite compared to the ceiling you get on something like a games as a service like Halo is right now. That's why you think they make the decision to make their number one IP a free-to-play game when it comes to the multiplayer, because they know they're going to get more revenue off that game over time versus selling it as a box unit at $60 a pop. it's just business and sense for them. But this is a great move, Slow Mo, and I can't say how happy I am for Bungie to be doing it. Only time's going to tell how good it is for Sony. Sony, if Sony can get the things out of it that we're thinking they're going to get out of it, it's a great move for them, because they'll be able to build experiences that people haven't been able to get on their platform in forever. But moving that before
I just looked into the net worth of Capcom and Ubisoft. Capcom's net worth is 5.03 billion. Ubisoft is 4.5, and Square Enix is actually much lower than what I thought. That can't be true. I need to look at it, like, because I'm seeing 2 billion, which is, that can't be true.
So let me see. So we got, so Taz says, as long as there's no timed exclusive content locking other platforms out, I'm good with the acquisition. Pixel G says, it really does, but I expect more wild deals. I think Sony
Square Enix is 5.9, so they're actually the biggest.
They're the biggest.
But if you look at the way these acquisitions have been going and the premium that these platform holders have been paying,
that's gonna be
more
$8
than
million.
likely one of those acquisitions would end up like having the cost be somewhere where Microsoft paid for ZeniMax Media.
Yeah, that's what I was
around that 7.5 to 8 billion.
Pixelbit G says, I think Sony goes after Square Enix. Real Zalar says Remedy. Gregor Von Dude says, I hope Sony buys Square simply just for the live action Tifa possibilities.
I don't think Remedy is in a position where they feel like they need to. Remedy's doing the best they've ever done at this point. They got tons. They have 4 separate projects.
They also
they are working on
for Epic, right?
Yeah, well, not all for Epic. They have a 3-game contract with Epic.
Yeah.
But currently they're only working on 1 or 2 games out of that contract with them. One is Alan Wake 2, and I can't remember what the other one might be. I actually might just be 1 game. They also are doing a multiplayer game for Tencent.
Mm-hmm.
They are also working on Control 2 for 505 Games, the publisher. So 505 Games, I guess, still retains the publishing for Control. So they that wouldn't be under Epic. But that's 3 games, and then there is they are doing the campaign for Crossfire X, which comes out next month. So like Remedy, I mean, this is what we gotta understand, right?
Well, what's the name even said it?
Companies don't just sell because someone wants to buy them. There needs to be a reason why a company wants to be sold, and typically it's because they've come into some kind of hardship. Like, for example, with Activision Blizzard, where the value, the stock market value tanked, and it wasn't worth what it once was worth before, because there's no way that would have been $95 per share would have been enough a year ago. No way. Right. But it was definitely enough now after everything that went down. But even with ZeniMax Media, the founder was dying, and like that played a part in him wanting to ensure that the company was good to go in its passing. Like, that also played a part in the acquisition and the fact that Microsoft was in the market. So like, you're not going to get a publisher that's just going to be like, hey, sure, we'll sell.
Right.
and for no reason whatsoever. There's no like actual reason on their part to do any selling. They just, everything's great for them. Then they're just going to continue to be independent. This is why, like, people talk about stuff like Take-Two. Why would Take-Two sell?
Well,
They
so
make so much money hand over fist. There's just no reason for them to sell
well,
to anybody.
they also just bought Zynga for $12 billion. So
Yeah, they out here buying things at a price that Sony wouldn't spend.
yeah, they are.
So why would they sell to Sony? It doesn't make any sense.
So
So yeah.
Blade X says Square Enix and Capcom. Gregor Von Du says I like Division and Assassin's Creed, but they have so much in development to fix. It might not be worth the price. Pixel Big G says Bungie had an issue with that too. Sam Watton says Jeff Grubb hint at a big publisher being their next target, but didn't want to say who. Dorian Gray, shout out to Dorian Gray with the $5 super chat. This deal,
I've heard similar things.
yeah. This deal does kind of scare me in the sense that Bungie did not want to be held down. Neither does Kojima. Could they get him? Do you think that they could? Do you think Kojima will ever just be swayed to be purchased by Sony?
I think he likes his independence and he likes his freedom to just do what he wants. And he's such a cult figure at this point that everybody wants to work with him, regardless of kind of weirdo crap that he comes up with. Sorry
Right.
that offends Kojima fans. It is what it is.
Do you
Excuse me. He's got multiple projects that he's working on. One of which is with Xbox, and I heard rumors that he might be working on something with Sony as well. So like, dudes, again, here we are. Why would I want? Excuse me. Why would I want to sell my company?
Right.
Like, what's the benefit to me doing that when I had a purpose of going out and creating this, and it's successful for me. So why would I want to actually change that?
Yeah. So the crazy is just, this just, I keep coming back to just the crazy thing about this, and part of his super chat spoke it. Bungie doesn't want to be held down. The fact that they were able to negotiate so much power where Sony pretty much can't tell them what they can and can't do with Destiny. I own you, but I can't tell you what you can do with it. That's crazy. But that's part of negotiation. The fact that Sony found it still in their best interests and benefit to purchase Bungie for $3.6 billion, but not have any control of the only thing that Bungie has. I mean, now granted, Sony has seen behind the door, so they know what Bungie has cooking up in the other IPs that we don't know about yet. So they know they had to buy out NetEase from the $100 million deposit that they put down on them when it came to like having them build a game for them. So they know what's going on behind the scene. But
that comes with every acquisition.
That comes with every acquisition.
You get the curtain is pulled back and you get to see the books. You get to see, because you gotta know what you buying. You don't want no surprises. Like there's just no way that would happen. So like you require someone, even being starting negotiations and getting into that will allow you access to all that kind of stuff. I actually kind of wonder with some of the stuff that's been rumored about, like some of these platforms rumored to acquire certain developers, and then it never turns out, whether they get into negotiations and then they get the books open and they go,
right.
I don't know about this.
I don't know about we might have to either renegotiate the price or just walk away from this slowly.
Right.
Backwards.
You take. I was about to have a really troublesome analogy there. Let me not. I'm gonna pull back from
I
that.
thought you was gonna have to.
No, but I kind of feel like because there was the whole talk that Microsoft was going to acquire Platinum Games, and then that the talks fell through. I kind of feel like that would make a ton of sense if you look at Platinum. Platinum's got a lot of Platinum's weird, man. Like they get kicked off of projects sometimes, and their games aren't super profitable, and they've had to take money from NetEase, Tencent, one of them. But like, yeah, like it I think sometimes people just go,
You know, Real
Yeah, I
Savant.
don't
So
know. I don't know if I want this.
yeah, Rail was like, that's like, he said it's like buying a house and an old owner keeps control of the kitchen.
Right, right,
It's
right.
crazy. Listen, so you know what? I love your analogy on it. You are more right than you are wrong in this situation when it comes to like the overall thought process on what's happening with the IP and everything like that. And you know, because technically, does Sony own Destiny? They do, because they own Bungie. It's just crazy that Bungie can do anything they want with Destiny, even if Bungie can do anything with Destiny, even if Sony don't want them to. It's crazy. It's like they can do anything. It's their IP no matter what. And I can't say I never heard anything, but this also, just like I said, it speaks to the situation with Activision and with Microsoft. Bungie, they always said, and this has been consistent ever since they separated from Activision, that they will always remain in control of their IP no matter what. And this is evidence of it. It only comes down to like, what are they going to be doing for Sony in the end? And it has to be something super substantial for Sony to still put down $3.6 billion. So
Yeah, and that's why I think they looking at it like, man, we can make that money back in Netflix deals.
exactly.
Netflix loves to throw money at people for projects. we can
Later,
leverage
Bunty.
a TV show. Take care, Bunty. We can leverage a TV show, and probably depending on how how it turns out, make up that money pretty fast. So yeah, I think for them that's the big get for them.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. Well, we went into a round and round about this, man. And Slow-Mo, I appreciate you coming through and doing this with me. You know, it's not too often I just go live on the channel and stuff, even though people tell me to do it. But I always tell people I'm not going to do it unless it's something I really want to talk about. And I just thought it would be crazy for me on the day that the game I play the most in like ever, I had to have a conversation to talk to you guys about it, because I know you guys, you know, some of you guys fake like you hate Destiny, but secretly you guys like the game because it's a great game. It just play other games. That's what Slow-Mo wants you to do. Just don't play Destiny. Play other stuff.
I don't co-sign that. It's not that great.
Oh my god, shut up.
And the hate for it is well deserved. And you know, I'm just hoping that it becomes less hateful with this acquisition.
So with that being said, Slow-Mo, let everybody know where they can find you at, man.
Yo, you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at the name Slow-Mo Backslap, as you see it on the screen. I go live at least 3 times a week on my Twitch channel, just playing games that I enjoy, and you know, kicking it with my growing community of cool people that come and hang out with me. I do YouTube content that is usually focused on like new games that people haven't really seen or heard of yet, as well as a nice, interesting video that kind of just gets into different topics and discussing game development and
Right.
how some things are done. I got a video talk that gets into why hair in video games is such trash and why that might get better in the future. So I got that coming out sometime this week. But yeah, just you know, check me out there and on Twitter. I like to post tweets that blow up randomly for some odd reason, like the tweet I just did 2 hours ago. I have no idea why everybody is liking this tweet so much. All I said was I've never seen so many Destiny fans in my life, and like 260 people agree with me. So it is what it is. But yeah, you know, great show, great hosting Forte as usual, great stream. I appreciate everybody for coming through, and I hope you guys have a great evening.
Yeah, definitely. And shout out to the over 66 people that we had here today. Appreciate all the love and support, and you know, everybody up in the chat. Shout out to Pixelbit, shout out to Gregor, shout out to Rizar, shout out to Bunty, shout out to Sir Taz, you know, Cardio Man, shout out to you, you know, John E, shout out to you guys, John Con, Dorian Gray. Appreciate all of you guys coming through. DPS podcast still is this Thursday on this channel. So if you're here and it's your first time here, hit the like button before you leave, hit the subscribe button so you can check us out during our normal show, which is every Thursday at 9 p.m. This week is on my channel. Next week it will be back on Slow Mo. So if you want to get an idea what our conversations are like, go check out Slow Mo's channel, because DPS was on there last week, and you can get a good gist of how me and my best friend here go back and forth with each other. So we truly appreciate you guys for coming through. More information on this is probably going to come up over the course of the next couple of days. If so, we will expunge on our conversation with this on that show. If not, it will probably just be a small footnote in the show for the people that didn't get a chance to catch us live today for our thoughts on it. So with that being said, guys, really, truly appreciate you guys. And thanks for coming through and supporting the channel. And we will see you guys Thursday for the actual show of DPS Podcast. Later.